Good morning, everybody, and a happy Monday morning. My goodness, from Ukraine to New York to London, we have a lot of news. There's so much. Let's just jump in and get started. Whoo, let's go. We are starting off with Charles and Camilla. Just to let you know, they got home safely. They landed in Scotland. Apparently, they're going to spend a quiet Easter together there. Good for them. I'm sure they could use the rest after their tour. Next up, we have the Duke of Gloucester. On April 10th, he opened a new London homeopathy clinic at the Feldie Centre, Tower Hamlets. Looking good. Next up, we have Secret Weapon Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh. She stepped in for King Charles on Friday the 11th to inspect the troops during a visit to Sandhurst. She attended the Sovereign's Parade at the Sandhurst Royal Military Academy. There are 3 parades a year, and it's being reported that it's thought Sophie's attendance at the event could have been in honor of the all-female banner party. And that is a historic moment for Sandhurst. There's 3 people. The trio have the Company Sergeant Major Brunton of the Royal Army Medical Service, who carried the Sovereign's banner, Staff Sergeant Lewis of the Royal Army Veteran Corps, and Staff Sergeant Bradley from the Rams, who was given special permission to carry a bayonet in the party. And Friday's visit was the 3rd time that Sophie attended the military parade. She previously attended in 2013 and 2019. Sophie inspected the troops of CC 242 ahead of the parade, and these cadets just completed 44 weeks of training. I will say also there's a lot of comments online about that particular color on Sophie. I personally love it. I'm not sure what the color is, but thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us what she was wearing. Let's move on. Next up, I didn't realize that the 11th was National Pet Day, and William and Catherine shared a beautiful picture of their absolutely adorable dog. The name is Orla. I believe Orla didn't take the place of Lupo, but Lupo died in 2020. Next up, Princess Anne. She is on the cover of Sea Cadets. The spring issue of the magazine is out, and they're talking about Princess Anne, who's Admiral of the Sea Cadet Corps, and the fact that she opened the new Midlands boat station. Also with Princess Anne, on the 11th, she officially opened Nautilus House at Mariners Park. It's a new head office of Nautilus International and a residential complex for retired sailors. Anne toured the facilities, met the residents and staff, and was awarded an honorary membership of the Nautilus International. Next up, we have the Duchess of Gloucester, president of the Children's Society. She visited the Time for Young People on April 10th. This is a support space, and during the visit, she toured the space and met the team to learn how early intervention helps prevent crisis. Love it. Sticking with the Duchess of Gloucester, she attended on April 10th a concert given by the East London School of Music at Clapton Community Seventh-day Adventist Church to mark its 10th anniversary. One of the people she got to listen to was soprano Alexandra Bell Cobbold. Oh, wonderful. It looks like she had a fabulous time there. Look at everybody taking the pictures. What a lovely young lady. I love her hair. And of course, she got some beautiful flowers on the way out. All right, let's move on. All right, don't say you weren't warned. Apparently, somebody ordered some Meghan Markle As Ever products. Then the products didn't come. And then they wouldn't refund her. So she had to cancel her debit card and turn the entire matter over to the bank's fraud department. She also is being spammed now because they collected her data. Don't go on the site, guys. Next up, you guys remember that there's an As Ever clothing brand? Well, apparently they have come up with a really good troll. Look at that. The creepy hand coming out from the As Ever package. Oh my God. Apparently it was very successful. Everything sold out. I just love that. All right, moving on. Just as an FYI, that podcast, it is on Apple Podcasts, ranked 57th in Australia, 6th in the US and Canada, and 11th in the UK. People were hate listening. I still think it's going to drop. All right, let's move on. All right, we know Harry flew into the UK to attend that hearing. He didn't have to. And Charles spent the weekend at Highgrove resting ahead of his state visit to Italy. They could have met on Tuesday, But they did not. And what's being reported is that there's legal jeopardy. It's a simple fact. You have the son of the king suing the king's ministers in the king's court, and that creates all sorts of legal problems. And they would only need Harry to have a conversation with King Charles and then let it slip. Oh, my dad said this or my dad said that, because after all, we know that Harry likes to repeat conversations. So Charles, while all of this is going on, is not going to speak to Harry. Harry should understand that. And as we now know from the comments Harry has made, he really believes that Charles could fix the problem for him. Charles is not going to interfere. And we're going to cover that in just a minute. But first, we have something else. So as soon as Harry's court case was over, and remember, he was unable to attend the friend's wedding in the UK because he said it was unsafe, he flew into a war zone. Can you imagine? You just can't make this up. He flew into Ukraine because he said the UK was too dangerous, but apparently Ukraine isn't. He met with those wounded soldiers that I showed you in Saturday's video in a city that's being pummeled by Russian jets and missiles at least 30 times since the war began. There was one thing in the article that caught my attention. He did not inform Buckingham Palace in advance of his trip. Well, why would he? He's not a working royal. He shouldn't have to inform Buckingham Palace, in my opinion. However, a lot of people have said the reaction across the board is uniform. People are saying, hang on, he's come over because he needs police protection and he's not safe in the UK, but then he's gone into a war zone. And while the city is not on the front line, it's getting regular bombardment, so it's a dangerous place to go. Now, when he went, people were like, who did he go with? What's going on? Well, apparently he went with Invictus. So this is Invictus paying for this. Invictus is taking care of his hotel. It's a business expense. It's a write-off. You know, he did a lot of things in that video also that were really stupid. Remember here, he's scrubbing up for surgery? Well, when you're scrubbing up for surgery, you remove your nasty bracelets that have germs all over them, which he did not do. So that was just for a PR thing. I also couldn't help but notice his pupils. This is a well-lit room that he's standing in as he's giving an interview, and yet look at his pupils. The man was on drugs. I'm sorry, that's my opinion. Well, Harry's camp got word of the fury and people calling him a hypocrite, and sources close to Harry. Remember, he and Meghan said they weren't going to send sources. It was going to be directly from them, but they're back to using sources. So sources have told the Mail Online it is simply incorrect to suggest Harry's visit to Ukraine is hypocritical or it undermines his security case. A source said that he was given a robust security detail, one he does not have in his home country. So there you go. Also, I have to say, I think it was really stupid because it's a public show of support for Zelensky and Ukraine. And we know that Trump isn't going to like that. He's just making things worse for himself here in the United States. FYI, while he was there, Harry also met with Ukraine's Minister of Veterans Affairs. So as long as he's doing that for Invictus, fine. If you're doing that as a member of the royal family, So let's go back now to the whole legal battle. Harry is starting to get a little reckless with his statements. He said people would be stunned by some of the evidence in the court case. People would be shocked by what's been held back, is what he said to the Telegraph. He said, my worst fears have been confirmed by the whole legal disclosure in this case, and it's really sad. Harry suggested that the decision to pull his security was designed to stop him and Meghan from quitting their royal duties. Harry said, we're trying to create this happy house, and this is what they're doing to us. So here's a few thought processes. First of all, I don't think anybody wants him back because every time he's in town, they're busy, they're abroad, and they have no time to speak with him. Number two, it was just a few days ago, they said they were forced out. So while claiming the family forced them out, he's now saying that full security was not being provided as a tactic to force them to stay. So what is it? In or out? Now, another thing that came up was win or lose, Harry apparently is aware that he may not get what he wants because even a victory will not force Ravik to rewrite its policy to suit Harry and Meghan. There is a window, the article says, where things could be changed, but it's not in his hands. And even if it loses, Harry is hoping that by drawing attention to the way this operates, somehow the system might change. Now, here's the interesting thing. The article also says there would be nothing stopping him from talking publicly about the experience and what he has learned, putting together the pieces of a puzzle, writing a second book, or making a podcast. That's right, more veiled threats to the family. And he wonders why the family's not talking to him and won't accept him back. Give me a break. Now, with everything Harry has said and done, and now with his appearing in court, they're saying that he's progressing down a path he's going to struggle to turn back from if he has any chance to heal the rift between himself and his relatives. I got to be honest, I don't think that's ever going to happen. They're saying that nobody can believe just how far Harry has fallen from consistently being the most popular member of the royal family, adored from everybody, and, the troops and his grandmother and everybody, down to somebody who's become a pariah. His own father and brother have become so exasperated with his various crusades and petulant attitude and throwing bombs at the royal family that they have found it better just to cut all ties with him. It's a sad state of affairs, but Harry brought this on himself. Let's move on to Meghan Markle. First of all, I have to just say, remember, she's a present parent, and the two of them try to not be gone at the same time. But yet, while Harry is in Ukraine, of course, it was inevitable. She was going to do a pap walk, and she did a 4-car over-the-top motorcade to a show in New York, leaving the children home alone yet again. If you guys are ready for this, the motorcade went exactly 1.5 miles. There were 4 vehicles. And what was learned in these articles is that she hired former Secret Service agents as part of her private security detail. She also had an unmarked police vehicle and 2 intel detectives that were in that car. So New York apparently paid for the extra security which had been promised to them after the quote-unquote New York car chase. People are pointing out it's totally over the top. Kim Kardashian, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Rihanna all travel in one car unless they're with family. The only person who has 2 cars is Taylor Swift, the car she's in, and a security car with her team. They're saying that Meghan is totally out of control. It's ridiculous. And NYPD is paying for this. But if the NYPD was not on duty, then they shouldn't be allowed to run lights and sirens. So definitely, New York taxpayers are paying for this. One NYPD officer, as you can see above, was spotted in uniform, but they're suggesting it was speculated that the local precinct already had that particular officer posted there to control pedestrian traffic. Now, Page 6 reached out to the NYPD and to Markle's rep for, some sort of a comment on the extravagant security measures, but of course, they did not respond. Before the show, she ate dinner at Ralph Lauren's Polo Bar. Now, as I said before, it's almost like she and Harry are doing dual fighting over the paps, because why would you do this while he's in Ukraine? Why not wait till he comes home? It was inevitable. The pictures started dropping. This one kind of got me. She made a point of taking this picture, and you can notice her left arm is as white as snow, but her face is dark. And I think she took the picture next to this beautiful African-American lady because she was trying to say, look at me, I'm African-American. She's got the bronzer thing going on. All these pictures, they're hugging and she's loving on her and it's so wonderful. And then the black and white photos, you get what I'm saying. So of course she went backstage and all these photos came out. Meghan has her shirt unbuttoned as far down as she can because, as usual, she's trying to show off what little bit of cleavage she has because she thinks it's sexy. In every picture now that you're going to see, she has that fake laugh, opened mouth thing going on. She's trying to copy Julia Roberts and Julia Roberts' laugh. It's like, guys, it doesn't work that way. I don't understand how she even got backstage. And you would think that everybody from these pictures was fawning over her and loving on her, but then a video came out that was a little bit confusing. You see how that girl acted so shy, putting her hands over her face, and then you see Meghan Markle do the exact same thing. But the weirdness with the pictures didn't stop there. I've slowed it down for you, but basically, if you notice, she's looking around because nobody's talking to her and nobody's paying her any attention. And so she's like, okay, I gotta go find somebody. The whole thing was just very odd. And then a big thank you to Nancy Sidley for pointing this out, but I don't know if it's true. I don't know if you guys can see the guy on the left in the black shirt. He looks like the guy on the left here, the Paramount guy. Look, that very well could be him. Who knows? Maybe he went because Harry's out of town and she didn't want to go by herself. She did seem to be alone. Anyway, the whole thing, like I said, Harry's out of town. She's left the kids alone so she can do a pap walk in New York. So I'm wondering again about the dueling pap walks between her and Harry, if there's some sort of a fight going on. Now, her clothing, as you can see, between the shirt and the skirt, it's over $2,000. And remember, there's a recession coming. I don't know who the hell would buy it. But thank you to Sunshine's Breeze for pointing out that Catherine is a big wearer of this houndstooth pattern. And guess who else was a big wearer of it? That's right, Princess Diana. She wore it in black, she wore it in white, she wore it in multicolored. So would it surprise me that she's wearing it? No, look at the skirt here. FYI, it appears that she flew into New York on a private jet, of course. Wow, this next story somehow doesn't shock me. Harry and Meghan set up a charity and they were donating to a women's Muslim group. The Archwell Foundation gave almost $30,000 to the Milwaukee Muslims Women Coalition in 2023 and another donation in 2024. Its founder, Janine Najib, has repeated the slogan, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free," which basically is calling for the total eradication of Israel. She also called to the ending of arming Israel and the liberation of Palestine. And her brother also courted the controversy. Well, it would appear finally, after hearing all of that, Harry and Meghan have pulled their funding. So here is my question. Did they pull their funding because they truly felt what this woman said was terrible? Or did they pull their funding because the press found out about it and brought it to their attention and they went, oops, we can't get involved in this, and therefore they pulled the funding? Let's move on now. What really happened when Meghan joined the royal family? Well, according to sources, she became very close to one particular junior member of staff, but this was seen as inappropriate by senior royals. She was also upset because William, as heir to the throne, was allegedly given better treatment by staff than Harry. A lot of people said she went ahead and took charge, that there was a lot of awkwardness and hilarity in the early meetings at Kensington Palace because she was so confident. You could see she wanted to run the meeting rather than learn about the royal family through the meeting. They said Meghan thought she knew better than the institution that's been in business for 1,000 years, and Meghan had the tendency to be overconfident when it came to her new royal status. They said she interfered in things that she shouldn't have interfered in, like Sentabale. Here's a perfect example. Listen to this.
To play in polo matches that would raise money for lots of different charities. They'd raise thousands of pounds. That, when Meghan arrived, she said, what are you doing, wasting your time playing for these little amounts? You should be raising, like $1 million. We'll see what comes out.
Yeah, I was just remembering that polo match because she asked for £1 million at the time, and from Audi, who was sponsoring that polo match at the time, and Audi had a really great relationship with the royal family at the time, and when Meghan came on the scene, Audi pulled out of that deal because it was much less official than Meghan wanted it to be. When Meghan tried to formalise it and throw big numbers out there, Audi just backed away and said, we're not interested anymore. And it really, really hampered Sentabale because they needed that money, and that was their biggest sponsor at the time.
So Tina Brown, who by the way was a friend of Diana's, said that Harry didn't want to tell Meghan to slow down. The two of them were drunk on the shared fantasy of being instruments of global transformation who would operate in the celebrity stratosphere where Diana used to, run. This is where the real problem started because Meghan viewed getting the most out of this. This was her big break. She was a member of the royal family. She was no longer a minor actress, and her demands grew with her station. She was not very nice to the staff, and then things just went downhill from there. This is where the name Duchess Difficult came from. She walked in and said, you're going to do it my way. I'm going to do what I want, not what I'm told. And this is where things just went downhill. What people are pointing out is, remember, Meghan said she wanted to finish what Diana started. And now look where she is. She's running a podcast that's going to fail just like Archetypes did. She's dishing out food that nobody really wants to buy. Harry is angry. Everything is upset. Their Netflix deal is about to go. Spotify's already gone. And if As Ever doesn't take off, they're going to run out of money. Then they're going to have to go back to the royal family. The problem is the royal family doesn't want them back. So what's going to happen to them then? There's absolutely no thought process for me. I can't even imagine, because the family's not going to take them back. It'll be interesting to see. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell after you've left your comments. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, my physical address, a link to my father's book, which is still up for sale, a link to my second channel, and a link to my Amazon wish list. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, have a great day.